Hey everyone, I'm Ed Rivera and today I'm going to bring you something interesting. This has to do with any of your advertising efforts online. So if you're using LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or any advertising platform, I'm going to give you a framework that you can use that will help you increase your leads and potentially revenue and make it a lot easier for you to run your ads. So what I have here is my 7D digital advertising framework that'll help you get more leads and customers, and I'm going to show you how to use it regardless of the advertising platform that you're advertising on. This is an advertising framework. So let's get started here. The first one here is define. So define, the first thing you have to do in this phase of define is to define your goal. What exactly is the goal that you're going to try to accomplish in your advertising campaign? Any campaign that you run for advertising, you have to first understand what goal that you want to have and you want to achieve. What you also want to do is to make sure that you define your target audience. This is probably the most important thing when you're running a campaign. And again, is to define your target audience. Who exactly is the customer that you want to attract and advertise to and try to convert into a sale or a lead or customer? And how do you do that? Well, first of all, you have to figure out what are your demographics. Are you trying to reach someone through their job title or area where they live? Or maybe income that they're earning. Those are some of the demographics. You also want to use psychographics. Psychographics has a lot to do with lifestyle. Maybe their interests, hobbies, their religious beliefs, their political persuasion. Those are some of the things they use for psychographics. You combine psychographics with demographics, and that's how you figure out who exactly you are trying to target for your advertising. And again, that is the first step or phase in the 7D digital advertising framework. The second one is determine. In this phase, you want to determine what exactly is the strategy that you're going to use in your advertising campaign. You're going to need a strategy that supports your overall digital strategy. You also want to figure out what are the KPIs, the key performance indicators that you're going to watch or keep an eye on to make sure or determine whether or not your campaign is performing as the way it should be. That is the determine stage. The next stage is design. So once you figure out who exactly you're going to target and you have your strategy in place and you know the KPIs that you're going to measure along the way, you want to design your campaign. At this stage, you design the ad. Hopefully it's a video ad. You design the copy. Maybe use a picture or again a video. Whatever you're using for that ad, you design it at this stage. You design the ad. And also, if you are going to try to run a campaign to raise awareness for your product or service, maybe all you need is just a microsite. So you want to make sure that you connect that ad to the site. Or if you're going to try to sell a product or a service or make sales or leads, perhaps you also need to build out a sales and marketing funnel at this stage. And this is the design phase. Again, you'll need to build out the campaign. And if you need a sales funnel, this is the phase where you build out that funnel. So if you're a solopreneur, you're doing it yourself, maybe you might want to use programs like ClickFunnels or WordPress or some of the other programs out there that support sales funnels. Or if you have a team, you can get your team together, you strategize, you build out the sales funnel, or you make designs to figure exactly how are you going to approach this campaign. That's the design phase. Now, once you are done with building out your campaign, you know the sales funnel, you have already built everything out. At this stage, the fourth digital advertising framework phase is deploy. This phase is where you flip the switch. You start the campaign. At this phase, you just let the campaign run because pretty much at this stage, you pretty much have everything else set up. You deploy the campaign. You want to start the campaign. And then what you have to do at this phase also is you have to watch the KPIs and watch how the campaign is performing. So from this phase forward, watch the key performance indicators. Now, some of those can be your click-through rate, your cost per lead, your customer acquisition costs, how many people are landing at your ad and are clicking over to some of your sales funnel pages. But this phase is where you keep an eye on them. This is where you start to keep an eye on them. The next phase is distill. Phase 5 is distill. Here is the phase that has to do with data. Now you keep an eye here also because as you're running your campaign, the campaign is going to generate a lot of data. There are a lot of data points in your campaign. Again, it depends on how you're setting it up, how extensive your sales funnel is, but you have to keep an eye on your KPIs. And as you're doing that, they're going to generate a lot of data. So at the distill phase here, you have to gather all your data. You have to study and analyze your data and try and figure out what exactly is the data telling you, because as you try to transcribe the data, it's letting you know exactly how the campaign is performing. So you have to keep an eye on the data, figure out what the data is telling you, but most importantly, you have to extract insights from the data that you're collecting. Now you can use dashboards like Google Analytics or DataBox or some of the other data platforms out there, data aggregation platforms that are out there. You can use any one of those, but the idea behind it is to gather your data, try to understand what the data is telling you, and extract insights. Extract insights so you can make business decisions based on the data that is being generated by the campaign here. So you have to constantly keep an eye on the campaign. So the next phase after distill, phase number 6 is develop. At this phase, this is where you're constantly, again, keeping an eye on the campaign. You're watching the data as it's coming in. You're extracting the insights, and you're trying to make decisions as to exactly how the campaign is performing. And you want to inject decisions into the campaign. And then what you are trying to do here is you're trying to optimize. You're trying to constantly improve, develop, optimize the campaign as it goes along. That is that phase. And the last phase is seventh phase of the 7D digital advertising framework. The last phase, phase number 7, is deliver. You want to make sure that the campaign is actually delivering the results that you want to generate from that campaign. Now, this will go back to the goal that you set in phase number 1, the goal that you defined in that phase. And this will also support your overall goals of how the campaign should be performing. And again, is if you're trying to raise awareness to a particular product or service, or if you're trying to generate a certain number of leads, a certain number of sales, a certain amount of revenue, that is where, in the deliver stage, is where you try to figure this out. But of course, all along the way, you're keeping an eye on the campaign. You're keeping an eye on the data. You're keeping an eye on all the key performance indicators as the campaign goes along, so that once you reach that deliver stage, the phase 7, you will know exactly whether or not that campaign is delivering as expected. Once again, I'm Ed Rivera. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the internet.